Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey Jade, hey Barb.
Hello, Jade. Hi, Bev.
Hi. So today's topic, self-care,
Another doozy.
another doozy.
Self-care, self-care, care by self.
So let's have your thoughts on that, Beverly. What does self-care mean to you?
So, we all talk about self-care, right? You read about it everywhere now. Everybody sells self-care, self-care. And some people think of it as, well, I'm going to go and get a massage or a mani-pedi. Um, but it really is a mindset and how I think of it as self-care is sort of self-aware. For me, they sort of match up for each other. So being self-aware of how my inner voice, how I talk to myself. uh Self-care is when I'm thinking, making that choice between that what looks to be a yummy cheesecake and that a yogurt or apple or something, right? Making those choices. Is it self-care to lay on the couch, or is it self-care to sit outside in the sunshine or go for a short walk? Is it self-care to make a point of engaging with people? There's so many aspects of it, isn't there? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Self-care to read a good book. Self-care for me is always about engaging with people, right? So when I meet with clients, although I'm meeting for the clients, it's really part of my self-care, because I find that when I'm connected to others and trying to understand where they're coming from, I always learn something about myself through that part. And as I said earlier, self-care really equals self-awareness. When I'm aware of what my expectations are that I'm setting up, it's such a mind game, such a mind game. And those physical things you do for yourself, like treating yourself to a massage or getting your hair done or any of those things, are very valuable, but not so valuable if you're doing it at the same time with having a bunch of crap running through your head, right? About why you're doing it
Mm-hmm.
and what you're hoping to get out of it. And and self is such a big part of that, right? Self-care as opposed to caring for others. And so many of the clients that I work with spend an enormous amount of their energy and resources on caring for others,
Mm-hmm.
and do that before caring for themselves. So I have a lot of fun trying to identify where is it that they're putting their energy and their time, right? And why is it that it's makes more sense to stay up late at night to get all the lunches ready rather than teach your 14-year-old to make his own peanut butter sandwich going to school,
Well,
Absolutely.
right?
and on
Those
that
kinds of
topic,
things.
that's a boundary.
Yeah, right. And so self-care really is all of those things, right? Like it really is a huge, massive, it's very all-encompassing. And but the first place to start with is being aware, kind of, in the addictions 12-step programs, right? The first step is admitting you have a problem with whatever, and having some conscious awareness as you're going through the day is so important to me. And there are many times that I do choose something that's maybe not in my highest interest, health wise, but at that moment in time, I'm choosing it as a self care because maybe, I really feel that I need either some form of comfort or healing and rest, right? That is more important for me to do that than to, go down and get on that elliptical for 30 minutes. I could talk about self care all day, every day.
Yeah.
Oh, for
And
sure.
my goal is always to practice it more. I am over the years have become very aware, and the challenge is, having the awareness and yet making that choice and taking that tiny little bit of action
Yeah.
towards that makes such a difference.
Two
I've
millimeter
considered on
shift,
pardon
right?
me.
It's a
A what?
2 millimeter shift.
Yes,
It's
it
what is
is.
that next best thing that you can do for yourself? And it truly is small. It doesn't have to be a big event, but in our minds, or my mind for sure,
Yes.
it's okay. Well, if I'm going to eat healthy today, that means, gosh, I better clean out the closets. I've got tens of emails I haven't answered. All of that gets wrapped up together, as opposed to, okay, go get a glass of water and start there.
Nicely said. Nicely
Yep.
said.
Yeah.
How about you, Barb?
Oh my goodness. I have now, put this phrase into my head, and I've actually, put it out there as a post. And for me, self-care is not a privilege. It's a must.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as that. We tend to put it in the long list of I'll get to it
To-dos.
kind of thing. When, as we talked about in boundaries and, being a people pleaser and putting yourself first or as a priority, self-care is that priority. It is putting yourself first. And a lot of us as women specifically, I'm sure there are a lot of men out there who are of the same mindset, but because we're nurturers, self-care isn't even a lot of times in our purview. And that's the mistake that we make, is that if we don't take care of us and our cup is empty, then we cannot take care of somebody else. And I love everything that you said, Bev, with regards to all the different ways for self-care, because those are amazing things. Self-care is a massage. Self-care, can be even just taking 10 minutes to make yourself a cup of tea, put your feet up and just say, right? And just reset. But a lot of us don't take the time to do that because we don't make it a priority. And we put everybody else first. And so for me, self-care is taking those moments in time, and it doesn't have to be a long period of time, to just reset, press the reset button. Allow yourself to press the reset button. That is the thing. Give yourself permission to say, okay, this is for me now. This is my time. I'm going to take it.
Well, with that reset button, how about talking about the benefits? Right?
Oh, totally.
Because as women, very few of us, I know for me, now I'm hitting my mid-50s, I didn't know that self-care was as vitally important. And because I didn't think of what are the benefits for it. And perhaps, that's something that, we can share right here.
For sure.
Now. Because, something that's really resonates with me is you can't outsource your health. Just like you can't outsource your self-care. You can't outsource your self-love, because that to me is part of how you self-care leads to better self-love. Barb, you'd mentioned about the cup being empty. Well, you fill it up through your own care, right?
And that is part of loving yourself, putting yourself first and making yourself a priority. And for me, the benefits far outweigh the trying to convince yourself that, I'll get to it later. I have so much to do. Look at this list I have in front of me. I'll never get half of the stuff on that list done. I don't have time to take care of myself. And that's the mistake that we make with regards to that. And the benefits that you get from just taking those moments, whatever they may be, for some, it may be watching, their favorite comedy show on TV. And that would be enough to just kind of rejuvenate. Or, for me, I mean, I am fortunate enough to have an infrared sauna. So for me, going downstairs and sometimes I don't even like, get down into my skivvies to do this. I'll just go downstairs in just my clothes. I'll take my sweater off or something and I'll just have like, a sleeveless, and I'll just turn on the sauna and just sit there and meditate. So now I'm hitting two self-cares. I'm sitting there in the sauna, just enjoying the warmth and the benefits of what an infrared sauna can do, and just meditate and take that time. And of course, I might be one of those lucky ones, and I could probably last about 17 minutes fully clothed, because I'm always cold. So 17 minutes is my, okay, I'm beginning to sweat, but I've had enough and the benefits have helped, and I can get out there. But it's not, everybody has to go out and, get a sauna or whatever. That the point is that you take that time and you stop. You need to stop and make it a priority. I can't say that enough.
Yeah, well, it's the benefits that I see is when we take care of ourselves as women, specifically that's who we're, I think, addressing here is the women that when we take care of ourselves, because when I started doing that, a few years ago, it was all for me. It was about routine. So I scheduled myself in. And I'm not talking about the massages, because I didn't make time for massages, but I took other things that could add up, and it was little habits. So for me, it was a morning routine. How do I set up my day? That to me was self-care. I get up earlier than my husband. I do, I thoroughly believe in, having the clean, lemon water, make my celery juice in the morning, did my, brief 5-10 minute illness gratitude meditation. That to me was self-care. My husband has benefited from it because I'm not bitchy. My health, I've got energy to go. And now he wants to get on my routine so that he can feel that energy too, and to me, if we take on the weight of the world and our families, the best thing we can do is invest in ourselves and our self-care, whatever that looks like for ourselves, right? It's not beating ourselves up. It's praising, it's celebrating those small wins. Beverly, you sound like you've got something. You got something.
No, I'm just thinking about it all, and my head's just running through with all of that, and the thing, like you said, that the energy and the small wins that you get are major wins, and how many times other people that don't even know it benefit from it, right? Because if you're in you haven't taken care of yourself, so you are a bit of a bag in the mornings, right? Or people talk about being grumpy before they have their first coffee, if they drink coffee, and oh my gosh, who wants to see you, right? And and I'm
100%.
someone who can wake up in the morning and start doing this right away, right? And so which is great. So like I do that to myself because I know imposing that on somebody else isn't always going to benefit me later in the day when they're cranky at me for starting off like that. But it truly is the littlest things. And we always consider it to be, and I think especially moms with kids and young kids, and they're trying to balance their career, it feels like it's such an overwhelming task to do, like to take care of themselves. And managing your stress is a huge component of that, right? Being aware of what brings you extra stress. And so many people overschedule themselves and their kids. That's something I like to draw out in my clients is how much are they doing in the run of a day, right? How much have you got yourself scheduled in? So you're really planning on, as you're driving the kids to hockey or dance class or something, and you're, throwing a few McDonald's chicken nuggets over your shoulders at them, and eating those
We've
yourselves,
all
right?
been there.
Ooh.
Right. And when it's how else do you survive? I've never had children of my own. And my word, I don't know how people manage all of that. But being a
I don't
little
know
bit,
how I managed either.
right? And my mom had 10 kids. My goodness. Well, there was none
Holy
of that.
cow.
Like her expectations were very different than expectations of the modern mom. And I think the more advanced we get technologically, the more expectations we put on ourselves, right? You'll take meetings in the car as you're driving somewhere. You know, you'll be sitting at your kids, if they're having a swim meet, you could be up in the stands doing a Zoom call, like there's so many of those things. So there's very little time where you're not attached to something, right? Not attached to the darn phone. And therefore, you've got that phone with you practically, under your pillow and wondering why you're having trouble with your sleep, those kinds of things, right? That's all self-care, having that awareness of those connections.
Yeah, well, and as Barb and I had spoken last week, it's boundaries.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Well, I think we should wrap up here, this lovely topic, because I know we could go on forever. And
Absolutely.
I want to thank you both for joining me in our coaching conversations on self-care.
Thank
It's
you,
been
Jade,
my pleasure. I love chatting with you ladies.
Yeah, back at you. See you guys soon.
All right.
Okay.
Till next
Bye,
time.
y'all. Bye.
Bye-bye.